Our webinar today is on topic Mastering JQL reports and dashboards in Jira. So this is the outline of today's uh, webinar. So we'll be focusing on advanced JQL queries, reports, and dashboards. So let's get started. The first topic is advanced JQL queries. So what is JQL in Jira? You can put your thoughts in the chat box. Okay. JQL is a searching technique that is used in Jira. There are also two more searching techniques, which is basic filter and also a quick search. That is, when a business requirement comes and it is very complex, you can use the JQL to sort the results. So let me navigate you guys to Jira and show you where we can find the three search techniques. Yes, it's an advanced SQL. It's a language to communicate with Jira. Exactly. If you see here in the top toggle, you can see a search bar. This is basically a quick search in Jira. You can search by using the issue ID and also by typing the summary of an issue. If I type as a user, it is going to filter the results. And also if I'm typing the issue ID, it is going to result the results, the exact match. So this is quick filter in Jira. So let's see where is the basic search looks in Jira. So if you see here in the top toggle, you can also see an icon called filters. If I click this drop down, you can see view all issues. If you click this one, it will take you to the basic filters page. It's getting loaded. We create it again. There is also one more technique to navigate to basic search. I will show you while we are seeing some examples. So this is a basic search looks like. It automatically comes with certain fields which you can search from. Here it says project. So project equal to simply you can select it from the drop down and some fields are automatically there. And there is an option to switch to JQL. Jira by itself says when you want to use advanced searching technique, you can switch to JQL. So let me give an example. You are using functions in your JQL, then absolutely have to move to the JQL technique. So now let's go back to the slide and see a basic structure of JQL. What does a basic JQL structure will have? It will definitely have a field followed by an operator and followed by a value. So without this, the JQL cannot perform any search result. And also the JQL does either of these two actions. One is selecting the subset of issues or ordering the result. If you see here in this example, it clearly says project equal to CBL, which means in the whole organizational data, it is going to only sort this result. So that is selecting the subset of issues. And also it says order by created in descending. So what does it order by keyword does? It basically sorts the result based on ascending order or descending order based upon the field mentioned here. So in this example, the created is also a field. So let me give a brief explanation of what are different types of elements of JQL. So there are 5 major elements. One is field, value, operator, keyword, and function. So Chanchala asked the question, is there any other way to navigate to JQL other than from search? Yes, definitely there is an option. Let me go back and show in Jira. If you are specifically want to do search in any one of these projects, select the project for which you want to do the search. If you go there, in left side toggle, you see a lot of items here. In this, you will find a column named issues. If you click on the column named issues, it will directly take you to the same page of basic and advanced search. Okay, let's continue. So what are fields in Jira? Fields are something that is used to store the organizational data. So if you see this example, it says project is a system field and story point is a custom field. So what's the key difference between the system field and custom field? System field is basically by default, Jira has some fields. So that is called as a system fields. So we cannot, if we want, we can use that system fields. If we don't want, we don't need to use the system field. But by default, Jira has some system fields, some examples of project, assignee, issue type, status, and priority. These are by default, these are system fields. So what are custom fields? So let me give an example scenario. There comes a new requirement to an organization. You want to display what are the application that you are using in your project. In that scenario, Jira doesn't provide a system field project application that you are using in your team. So let me go back to my Jira instance and show you guys how my team is using a, a, um, a custom field. So if I select any issues, you can see here we have a custom field name impacted applications. So there are a lot of teams impacted in a same project. So they can work on multiple applications to track what the specific story has been impacted by different types of applications. We have a custom field. So this is a multiple checkbox drop down. You can select the multiple list. So this is a very good example. Only based upon our organizational needs, we create the custom field. So story points here is also a custom field. Jira doesn't give a story points field, but Jira Align does. Jira Align by default is as a system field as a story points. So next comes the value. So what are values in Jira? So values are used to represent the exact match for which you want to search the result. So here I have denoted CBL is also a value and in progress is also a value. What is the major difference you see from this board? If you see here, CBL is not inside double quotes, but in progress is inside double quotes. So what do you think? Why do we use double quotes for in progress? Okay, so in progress is a double word. So this value is having double word. So definitely in Jira, we have to use it inside the double quotes. Otherwise, this JQL is going to show a syntax error. But in case of CBL, if you use the double quotes, it is not going to show the error. But that is not necessary or mandatory to use double quotes for a single words. So before passing to the next slide, I wanted to say you guys, based upon the fields that you are choosing, the operators might vary. So you guys can ask me whether I should remember all the operators for which I am, which project or which issue types are impacted. No, you don't need to memorize for which field, which operators will be used. Jira by itself gives a very good, easy environment for all of us to learn. Let me navigate and show you guys. Before that, let's see why operators are used. Operators are the logical function which defines how your search is going to be. If you give equal to, it's going to give a different set of a search result. And if you give not equal to, it's going to give a different set of search result. Based upon the operators, the whole search result is going to be get impacted. So these are lot of operators that are used in our JQL. So I have took some great examples. So if you see here, in and not in operator are used in a list format. So if you are using in, definitely you should follow it in the double quotes. So I can ask you a question here. If you want to add status in this list of open, closed, and in progress, so what will be the syntax? You can drop it in the chat. So I gave an example in before slide. So if you're writing a query to filter status in open, closed, and in progress, how does the in progress look in this query? You can drop it in the chat. Yes, yes, Chanchala, you're correct. So in progress always comes inside the double quotes. As we discussed, it is a two words. So if you see is and is not, this is very dependent on only one keyword. So this is and is not always works only with the empty keyword. So if some of you are preparing for any Atlassian exams in JQL part, they will be asking you to find the exact query for the scenario they have mentioned. for confusing you all, they might give in options project is and some value. Definitely, it's not going to give the filter results. Is going to work only for empty. So was or from is used to denote the previous state. If you see this example, status was in progress. Now it can be in any status, but previously the status was in progress. So if you see from, to, and by operators always pairs up with a changed operator. So it always comes like if you see here, status changed from open. So before the status can be in anything, but if it is open previously, it's going to filter that result. So before, during, and after is denotes the duration. So it is always going to come with the date operators, and during is a time period. So it is going to have two parameters inside a function. So next comes the keywords. What are keywords in all JQL? So you can use multiple conditions in your JQL. So to combine those conditions, we use the keywords. If you see this example here, we have mentioned project equal to CBL and story point is greater than 1. So this is a keyword. And also you can see here order by and descending is also a keyword. If you are using order by in your query, definitely it should be followed with descending or ascending keyword. Okay, we all know the meaning of and or operator in JQL, but I will give a short message. And is used to fetch the union of both the queries. So from this clause, it is going to take. So how it works? Project should be definitely in CBL, and from that CBL project, the story point should be higher than 1. This is how the and operator works. So if you see this example, project equal to CBL or status equal to in progress. What does it denote? So project can be in CBL. So all the issues from project CBL is fetched. Also, the status in progress from all other projects is also fetched. This is how and an operator and an or operator is working. Next is functions. So if you are in any of the managerial position and if you want to automate your team functions, you will have to definitely use functions in your query to avoid the repetition. To make it more efficient, you should definitely use key functions in your JQL. So if you see here in this example, I have mentioned project equal to CBL and assignee is current user. So project equal to CBL and assignee equal to current user. Let me think in a different angle. Let me ask you guys a question. You are writing a JQL for your team member. So two of the team members ask you, can you give me a JQL query so that I can view my daily activities in that filter itself? He asked or he or she asked you to give a filter so he can directly go there and see his work items. So what you will do? If you don't want to rework, you will definitely use functions in your JQLs. So this current user works in such a manner, it fetches the results of the current person. So instead of directly mentioning the name of a person, if you use current user, it is going to work for multiple users. So similarly, there are a lot of functions that reduce the rework. If you see here, due date is equal to end of day. So if you are a person who is sending weekly or daily reports to your manager person, so you don't want to go and create the filter daily by mentioning the due date equal to the specific date. So you can go and use functions there to make it more easier to avoid the rework. So here are some useful functions that you can use in your project or you can use in your JQL. If you see, we can see, take this example as parent epic. So parent epic in the sense, it is going to fetch all the child stories. So we are using parent epic in parentheses, we can pass multiple epic names. Okay. And then we are using members of. Okay, if you want a specific group of members tracking, you want a specific group of members issues alone. So you can use members of. So Jira by itself has some groups, right? So for that reasons, you can use members of function. So in this query, if you see here, assignee in members of QA. So members of QA in all the projects all over the Jira instance is going to be fetched. Okay. So here is a beautiful query. I like this query because I like this function because we can easily get caught the person who is not doing the work. So issue history, what does this issue history function does? So it basically gets the result of recently visited issues. It not only does for you, but for the person whom you are mentioning. If you say here assign equal to some person of your team, we can see that whether that person have visited that issue or not. You might be a manager and you ask your teammate to look at the issue. You can go and check whether he looked at the issue or not. This is easily helping us to track the team's visibility. So if you see here, open sprint, future sprint, and close sprint. So these three functions help me a lot to automate in the companies. So what does this does? Instead of mentioning sprint in some name, you can always use sprint in open sprint. So it automatically refreshes it filter once this sprint is changed, closed, and another new sprint is opened. Okay, already we discussed about current user. So let me go back to Jira and say you guys how the Jira by itself help us to do the JQL. So as I told, how we need to navigate to JQL, but also I'll tell it again. You can either go from filters, new world issue, or you can select a specific project for which you want to do a query. You can select the project. In sidebar, you can see an option called issues. If you select the issues, it will directly take you to the advanced search. So I told you before, for specific field, the operators will definitely change. So let me give an example. So if you see here, I type the word P. So if I type the letter P, it automatically pops all the fields starting with the letter P. So you don't want to memorize all the field names. So Jira helps in that manner. So I'm giving project equal to some name. Let's give, okay. And if you click the space bar, it automatically shows the suggestions. So which keyword you wanted to use. I'm using an keyword here. Then for project, it showed the different list of operators, right? Now let's see for priority, or let's see for story points. For story points, let's see how the operator changes. Now you can see, now it's providing a variety of operators. For project, it is different, and for story points, it is different. So you don't need to memorize everything. Just if you click the space bar, it is going to give you the suggestions. And also you're a person very new to Jira and doesn't know how to write the JQL, and you're going to use functions in your query. You see here the question mark icon, right? This is a syntax help provided by Jira. If you click on this, it will directly navigate you to the Jira support page. Here you can see the wide range of JQLs and JQL functions, JQL fields, and keyword with the example. So if I click JQL functions, it says all the function that is available in Jira with a specific example and supported operators and not supported operators. So let's continue. So let's say what are JQL best practices. So before writing the JQL, you should always ask the question why. So without understanding the business angle, you cannot write the query. So if you're writing for a specific team, you should ask the question to yourself, why I'm writing the query for this team, for what, who are going to get benefited from it? What is the exact scenario for which I want to write the query? Okay, now you wrote the query. Always double check whether the returned result is based upon your search. So sometimes you might make some syntax mistakes. The result might be different. So always double check your queries. So the second point is readability. So if you are using a lengthy queries and if you ask your teammate to read the query, he will find very difficult to read it. If some person very new to Jira and you show them a JQL to read it, how they will understand? So always try to use brackets in your queries to differentiate multiple clauses. So if you see here, this is a separate condition. I have separated using an or operator, and then there is a separate another clause. So this is how you should make your queries in readable format. Then scope limitation. Always limit your scope to a specific people. So if you want to write query for a certain amount of people, don't make the query to the whole Jira instance. For example, if I want to search for the people of this mentor mentee this from this project, I want the people only from team A. What I will do in my project, how we used to track the team members, we use components. So we use components to differentiate the different teams. So I will narrow down my search by specifically mentioning I need only the results from mentor mentee team A. This is how you can reduce the search and make it more readable. And this is effective also. It doesn't return the unwanted teams search. Okay. Then the last one is maintainability. Maintainability always comes with functions. If you don't want to redo the work or if you want to do automation, always use functions in your JQL. So it will help you in many cases. So now we are coming to the end of JQL, but I will show you guys in few slides how we can use JQL to automate the dashboards. Are you guys clear with the JQL part? Do you have a understanding if you are some person new to Jira? You can put it in the chat box.
So I have put some questions in the chat box. What is the best way to practice Jira queries?
Uh, how I did is I went on the instance directly. I practiced there. It itself gives some suggestions. You can itself think in some manner. You can think if you are a team lead, what all the things you will track. Definitely, all the stories should have the acceptance criteria. So you can think in that manner and try to write a query how I can get the search results for the issues that are not having acceptance criteria. You yourself can ask questions and practice it. Practicing makes it more easier.
If I want to practice from home, not accessing the the job Jira, so
You
is
can,
there a way to
yeah,
do?
you can create from your login, from your personal email ID, you can log in with Jira. That doesn't need a paid version. It simply gives an option to advanced search also.
Okay, thank you.
But that needs a creation of data, right? So that's the big issue.
Yeah, correct. You can simply create some that gives
Yes,
not only for practicing JQL, you can get practice to a whole instance if you practice in such a manner.
true.
So the next topic is reports. In this, we are going to cover four major reports: sprint burn down chart, epic burn down chart, burn up chart, and cumulative flow diagram. I'm going to help you guys to read this all the four charts while you're going from this webinar. You'll definitely know how to read this chart. So there are a lot more charts available in Jira. I specifically chose only these items because it gives a clear visibility of how the team is progressing towards its goal. So what is burn down chart? What does a burn down chart show? Does anybody know or anybody else used the burn down chart before? Can put it in the chat box. Okay. What does a burn down chart do? It shows the visualization of actual estimated work to the total amount of work remaining. It shows the remaining work to the actual estimated work. If you see in this graph, it says the y-axis represents the time and the x-axis represents the x-axis represents the time and y-axis represents the story points. So what is story points in Jira? It's an estimation statistics. Some team may use story points to log their estimation. some team might not use story points. They just simply use the issue count to track their issues. So based upon your team estimation, you can change this y-axis. So let me go back to Jira and show you where you can find the burn down charts. And before that, I wanted to say a key message. Burn down chart works only for the Scrum board. If you are someone who is using the Kanban board, we cannot see burn down charts in Kanban boards. So in Jira, we have a very limited amount of charts for Kanban team, but a wide range of charts are available for Scrum boards. So let me navigate to the project. In left side toggle, you can see below the active sprints, there is an option called reports. If you click on reports, the first chart itself a burn down chart. Let me click the burn down chart. So Jira by itself says how we can read the burn down chart. So if you see here, as I told you, it is a sprint burn down. So definitely you have to select for which sprint you want to see the visibility. So if your team is not using story points, you can use the issue count or the original time estimate. If they are using hours to log their work, it's based upon your team. But we use story points. I have used selected story points here. And if you see here in right corner, there is a rectangular box giving a view. So what does it dark gray color line denotes? It denotes the actual estimated work. And the red color line denotes the remaining work. And this light gray color bar in this chart says the non-working days. If you see, this gray color line is falling down. So that is, it is like, let me say, on Jan 4th, 80 story points has to be completed. Sorry, by Jan 4, they are planning to complete 80 story points for this sprint by Jan 16th. But if you see here on Jan 6 to Jan 8, it is not working, so the team is not going to do progress. For that reason, it is flat here. If you don't want to see this non-working day, you can absolutely turn it off. It's based upon you and your team. And below the burn down chart, it gives a detailed view of how many stories are planned during Jan 4 and what all the stories and what all the story points for each of the things, and during each day how the team is progressing. So let me go back to the slide and show you guys how you can read the burn down chart. So if you take this example, we have selected a specific sprint and the estimation statistics is story point. If you see here, on Jan 18, the team planned to complete 80 story points by Jan 30. This is the actual estimate. So if you see the red color line, as we know, the red color line denotes the remaining work, right? So only if the line is decreasing, it means the team is progressing. Okay, but if you see here, the line is very straight. We cannot see any committed issues in this graph. So the date is also passed. The Jan 30 is passed. By Feb 1, the team has completed all the 80 issues. So by this analysis, what you can say? So what are the key insights you can give from this burn down chart? The team doesn't have the capacity to complete the committed work, which means there is a lack of members, or the team doesn't have an understanding towards the data what they are using. So this is one key insight you can give from this burn down chart. Let me give another example. So in this burn down chart, if you see on Feb 22, the team planned to complete 47 story points by March 6th. So this is the actual estimate. If you see the remaining estimate, the team started to work by Feb 22, and by Feb 24, the team completed some 15 story points. So then again, the team is completing some, working on some items, and on March 2nd, the team is completing some more story points. And again, the team is progressing and completed the remaining 15 story points by March 6, which is the estimated time. So what are the insights you can give to this chart? The team completed to the committed story point, which means the team committed to work based upon the velocity and capacity of their team. Okay. Are you guys now comfortable to read any burn down charts? If so, please put a thumbs up sign in our chat box. Yeah. Next comes the epic burn down chart. So what does the epic burn down chart show? So burn down, we know definitely it is going to show the progress of something. So what does epic burn down show? So it says it shows the progress of epic over a time. If you see in this graph, we are seeing the sprint. So that means the progress of epic over the sprint. We definitely know epic is not a small item that cannot be completed in a single sprint. Definitely epic is going to take more sprints to complete based upon the scope of the epic. Now you guys can ask me a question. Epic doesn't have a story point, then how we are going to estimate the epic's um, story points? If you ask me the question, the epic automatically takes its child story points. You can ask me another question now. Does it take the subtask story point also? No, it doesn't take the subtask story points. It only takes the story points and makes that as a epic story point. So let me again navigate to Jira and show you where you can find the same. If you click the project in this left side toggle, you can see reports. Under reports, you can see a variety of charts. In this, you can select the epic burn down. So if you see here, Jira itself provides some message how you should read. Let me zoom it up here. This is what the three insights the epic burn down provides. First thing you wanted to know is always the first bar in epic burn down denotes the original estimate, which means the epic's total estimated story points. And the green color bar denotes the completed issues. That means the completed story points. And it also says we can view the scope change. So as we know, the epic cannot be completed in one sprint. It is going to take several sprints. So end of each sprint, we will have a review. So the client may give some new additional scope or they may remove the scope. So all the scope changes can be also visible in this epic burn down in a dark blue color bars. And also it says predicts the completion. So what does it say? So it also predicts by which sprint this epic will be completed based upon the progress of the completed sprints. Okay. So how you can see the sprint burn down? Sorry, epic burn down. So in sprint burn down, we selected the sprint. In epic burn down, it shows the option to select the epics. So it shows a view like this. If you see here, initially the team planned for 15 story point. That is the original estimate of an epic. By FY23 Q4.6 sprint, the team completed 10 issues, but still 5 issues are remaining. And in Q4.7, team doesn't do any progress and there is no scope change also. In Q1.1, the team again didn't progress any story points. By Q1.2, the team completed its estimated story points. You can ask me, where is the gray bars? The story points are completed, so it doesn't show the prediction. So let me show another example of epic burn down showing the prediction. So we can read this chart now. So the original estimate is 15. So by sprint 7, okay guys, if you are someone who is preparing for Atlassian exam, here is one of the exam question. From Epic Burn Down, there is definitely one exam question. So in sprint 7, they completed 2 story points. There are still 13 story points remaining. If you see in sprint 8, there is new scope, but the team haven't progressed any story points. So there are again 15 items now. So in sprint 9, the team also completed 3 story points and 4 more scope is added. By sprint 10, if you see the star here, it represents the current open sprint. So the 12 story points are remaining and team completed 4 story points. So it says by this sprint, this epic will be completed. And also it gives a keynote for each sprint, how much velocity or how much story point is being completed. It says 2 velocity per sprint. That means 2 story points are completed for each sprint in average. So are you guys comfortable reading the burn down chart? Please put a thumbs up in the chat.
So another question. So this
Yes.
epic burn down chart seems very similar to velocity chart, except that it now has
Yes.
the entire epic as the goal,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
so the difference is that in the velocity chart, you get actually the committed versus completed side by side in different color. So this one actually
Yes.
tries
Correct.
to combine all of these, right, in the same bar.
No, no, it doesn't combine. What you're saying is the velocity chart for a particular team, they may plan 5 sprint. For 5 sprint, it will show what all the completed story points and what all the remaining story points. It will show in such manner. It is not going to show the epics data, but in epic burn down, it is showing only the epics data for a specific epic, how it is traveled across each sprint.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
in velocity chart, you can see in each sprint, the team might work on multiple epics, right? So it shows the whole data.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So next is a burn up chart. So what is the main difference between burn down and burn up chart? So what does first the burn up chart shows? Burn up chart shows the completed work, but burn down chart shows the remaining work. There is no major difference between both. But what is the key goal to use burn up chart rather than burn down chart? Because burn up chart shows the scope change, whereas burn down chart doesn't show the scope change. Let me go back to the burn down chart slide and ask you guys if in Feb 26, any of the story points are removed from the scope or some story points are added to the scope, it is definitely not going to show in this guideline. But in burn up chart, it is definitely going to reflect the scope change. If you see here, all the others are same. The x-axis represents the time and y-axis is going to represent the story point. And the gray line here represents the actually it gives a prediction how the team can progress through the sprint. And the red line denotes the scope. So it says by Jan 31, the team planned to complete 12 story point for this sprint. But gradually on Feb 2, the scope is changed to 13 or 14 story points. This is how the burn up chart shows the scope change, but this functionality is not available in burn down chart.
Okay. I have a
Let
question on
me
that.
show you. Yes.
So in the burn down chart, there is a remaining work, right? So the remaining work
Yes.
will actually change if you add scope. So that's how you'll come
No.
to know that something was added.
Yeah, I have in next slide, your question will be answered.
Okay.
You can wait for the next slide.
Sure.
So if you see this green line here, what does it say? It says the completed work. So the team never completed the work on Jan 31 and gradually started doing the work. And if you see here, this bubble in this chart, what does it mean? The team first completed 3 story points and next completed one more story point at 4. So like this, it says some minute things what their team does. So the team actually progresses. And if you see here, always in burn up chart, it should, if the team is doing work, it should be in increasing order. But you see here, it's in flat scale. So the team doesn't do any progress and they are not completing the estimated issues on the time they planned. So this is another example how we can read the burn up chart, but let's answer the question how the burn up chart and burn down chart are, we can read the difference if any scope changes, whether the burn down will show the difference. So if you see, these both charts are from the same project and the same duration, but you can see a lot of difference. If you see in burn down chart, 120 story points are planned to complete by sprint 10. So, but we cannot see any scope changes here. But in this burn up chart, you can see there 120 story points are planned to complete by sprint 10. By sprint 3, some story points are removed. Now we can answer his question. How does it reflect in burn down chart? So if you see here, the team by sprint 3, suddenly we can see there is a huge work committed. So the team committed lot of work. How does a team commit lot of work? It not because the team completed few works. It is not because of that reason. Some scope is removed. That's why the chart is going below. Does it answer your question? So
No,
bottom chart shows, yeah.
no. If you go to the actual Jira bar down chart, there is a third line which shows the remaining work.
This is a burn down chart which I
No,
from
no.
Jira.
Actually, this is not the actual Jira. So you were showing Jira before, right? There was a
Yes,
third
let me
line.
go.
That was the red line showing remaining work.
Red line is the remaining values.
Yeah, so that will actually go up. No, not these pictures. You have the actual Jira report, right?
Okay.
Yeah, their burn down chart.
Yes, burn down
Yeah.
chart.
So there are 3 lines there. Yeah.
You can
So
see only 2 lines.
yeah, because the third line is actual progress, which yeah, I guess this one doesn't have any progress. So the red line is the remaining value. If you add more to the scope, that remaining value will jump up, and that will actually, and if you take values out, it will jump down, and then you will know the scope was added, subtracted, things like those from the remaining values.
Yes, what you're saying is definitely correct, but this doesn't represent the scope change. But this is the actual estimated value, right? It should pop the scope changes in this line. If this is if in this if you see it that doesn't mean the scope is changed, it also means the team completed some issues. It can represent in that manner. We cannot assure that the team uh, completed the issues or the scope is changed. It doesn't show represent anywhere in the chart. So basically, if the stories are completed also, the line is going to decrease. The scope is removed also, the line is going to decrease. But we can't assure whether the scope is changed or the issues are progressed. So that's why we are using bar chart.
If you scroll down, you should be able to see it. It
Yes,
actually
in the
goes
detailed
down
report, we
here.
can see.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm.
Okay, yeah, that's actually true. Mhm.
So the next slide is cumulative flow diagram. So if you are a person who have already attended any of the SAFE classes, you will definitely know the importance of cumulative flow diagram in your organizations or in SAFE classes. So lot of people still find difficulty to read it, but it's very simple. It shows a clear visualization of how the team is progressing over a certain period, but this is mainly applicable to the Kanban teams. It can be also used in Scrum teams, but we cannot see the team progress by story points. We can see only the estimation based on number of issues. The x-axis remains the same, it is time, and y-axis represents the number of issues. So if you see here, the different color denotes the different statuses used in a specific project. If your project is having 5 status, the graph is going to change. Let me go back to Jira and show you guys how does a cumulative. Same, under reports, you can find the cumulative flow diagram. If you select the cumulative flow diagram, you can see here in burn down and burn ups, we select the sprint, but in cumulative flow diagram, you're going to select the time range. It can also be a custom time range from which time to which time you want to see. And also you can refine the report by some certain columns. So if you want to see only to do and in progress and you don't care about done, you can remove that. Or if you want to see only your issues, you can see the quick filters. So this is
Um,
how
Abhi,
cumulative flow diagram.
I
Yeah,
have a quick
Chaitra.
question. Can we
Yeah.
change the scale of x-axis or y-axis? Is it
Yeah.
possible?
Oh, yeah, that's what I told. It applies mainly to the Kanban team. So
I
Kanban
understand
team
that.
doesn't use to. Mm.
My question is, can you change the scale of this cumulative flow diagram? Because if you are seeing it at a project level or epic level, so the number of issues shoot up like, like For example, if you have like several issues under a project, like say 800 issues, so then from there, tracing your team's progress on day-to-day basis becomes difficult. So in other words, like, can I change the scale of x-axis or y-axis in simple math term? Like,
X-axis, if you see, you're definitely going to give a time frame. Based on that, it is going to pop up. So if you give the data for year duration, if you give, definitely it is going to change the scale. So let's test for past 6 months.
Mhm.
If I click apply, you can see here for past 6 months, the scale is changed. It shows in month order. If I specifically select a custom field for only past week and select the apply, it shows based on days. This is
Okay.
how you can change the x-axis, y-axis based upon the input data. If the team is using 120 story points, as you told, 1,000 stories are there in a single project. So the scale will be in an incremental order or in certain intervals to project that scenario.
Okay. So in
Is
other
that
words,
okay?
there is no way to change the x-axis. It has
No,
to be.
there is actually if you click on that same timeline, the last one is the custom, where it will the
Yes.
last one. No, not there. Yeah, exactly. So you can actually type in what dates from where to. So x-axis can be changed by yourself.
So I
Yes.
meant y-axis. Sorry. I meant y-axis.
No, y-axis is taken from
Y-axis,
taken
That's
from
the
the
same.
it will
number of
automatically.
issues. Yeah.
I was meaning y-axis. Sorry, number of points. Yeah.
So y-axis
it will
change
basically.
actually is not correct, right? Because it's a team working on the issues. Now you want to decrease or increase the number of issues.
No,
Jira
not
won't allow.
just a zooming kind of thing, zooming
Oh,
in or zooming out.
okay,
That may
that's
not be possible. Yeah.
okay. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay.
So now let's see in this slide how we can read the cumulative flow diagram. If you see here in this cumulative flow diagram, they have given a specific time range it's showing in a different year format. So it is in 2014 and it is in 2015. So this is a time frame. This is in x-axis. And if you see on July 14, 2014, the team planned to complete 40 or nearly 50 story points. But if you see that there is no scope changes, by May 2015, there is a little scope change. It is committing to nearly 65 or 60 story points. And again, the scope is getting increased. It is gradually getting increased by July 2015. And by July 2015, it is nearly 120 story points or committed. Basically, the number of issues getting increased. So if you see this green color line, it represents the done status, right? If you see here, the team haven't even started in progress. So in progress is in teal color. The team haven't even started the in progress. Then how come this one issue is completed? That means simply some scope may be removed from the team. So the team haven't progressed anything by May 2015. Only the team is starting to do its progress. So it can do only few progress, and it is going to code review by May 2015. It's completing some issues by July 2015. The team is completing nearly 50 issues, but the team has planned or committed to do nearly 120 issues. But what are the insights you can get from this cumulative flow diagram? Is the team doesn't have a capacity to do the committed work, and also the team over committed to do the work without even completing the initially committed issues. This is how you, by reading the chart, you should provide insights to your team. So now let's see another example of cumulative flow diagram. If you see here in this cumulative flow diagram, nearly 8 stories or 8 issues are planned to be completed, and in this certain time frame, and the scope is initially not, the issues are gradually increasing, and by this 2013 10th of Jan something, nearly 17 story points are planned to be completed. If you see here, this is a very good example of how the team should work. So this team definitely have the velocity on capacity. So the team started to design, and then team started to code, and the team by third started to test, and the team started to complete the items. So what are the insights you can get from this chart? The team has a capacity to complete the committed items, and also the another key point, this team always limiting the work in progress items. So if you see here in design state, they are only using specific amount of work. They are not uh, the team is not basically multitasking. They are committing to a specific criteria, and the team is initially progressing. So this is how a team should work. So let me say you some best practices of how the team should work. Always limit the work in progress items. There is a theory: if you increase the work in progress items or multitask, definitely you're not going to achieve the goal in the specific time period what you have aimed off. And always don't overcommit to the items before even completing the committed items. So these are some of the best practices. So next topic is dashboard. We are going to see a simple automated dashboard and what are dashboard in Jira and what are some dashboard best practices. So what is dashboard in Jira? So it's a high level representation of a specific data input that we have given to the dashboard. So basically it can be your data, or it can be your team data, or it can be a project data. Based upon the input data, the dashboard or filter is going to change. So there are a lot of gadgets available in Jira to represent in dashboard, but you should be very clear what is the required and what is the need for your team. Based upon your needs, you should select the gadgets. So always you should have a global permission, share dashboards and filters for you to use the dashboards and filters. So if you are a person who doesn't see filter option or share creating a dashboard option in your instance, basically your administrator might not have enabled you to look into filters and share dashboards. So next comes the walkthrough of an automated dashboard. For our webinar, I created a dashboard. Let me walk you through, guys, you to the dashboard, and let me say how I automated the dashboard. So this is a top toggle. In this toggle, you can see the dashboard. You can see view all dashboards. So these are the list of dashboards available. So I created DSU for our webinar. If you see here, the viewers, there are different kind of viewers for each dashboard. If some person comes and says, you shared a dashboard with me, but I cannot see the dashboard. So first you want to check the dashboard permission. Okay, so then there will be another scenario. Some persons will come and ask you, I can see the dashboard, only some gadgets are visible, but some gadgets are not visible. So what is the reason behind it? So you may use some filter for a specific gadget and you haven't been shared the filter with a person. So let me show you guys. Let me go to Jira. Let me go to filters. If I select the owner as me and select for a, okay, if I select this specific filter, it says the viewers is only, you see here, the viewer is only me. It is very private to me. If I share this dashboard with anybody in my team, some people couldn't see the gadget. Some gadgets might not be available. So like this manner, like you can fix the errors. So if you see here, I created this dashboard for a daily stand-up purpose to make my daily stand-up automated. So what all the key things it's there in this one? I have used print health gadget and a pie chart gadget. And how does it work? How this is automated? You are saying me automated, how it is automated? So Sprint Health gadget by itself is automated. You can always click on edit icon here to edit the dashboard, and here you can rename and copy this dashboard, and you can also share the filter with the required person. So if I click on edit option here, so there are the variety of gadgets available in Jira. So each have a specific functionality. So let me show some 5 gadgets that I have used here to automate. And also you can change the layout to, if you want it in 3 in a row or 2 in a row or 1 in a row, you can change the layout based upon you, your needs. If you see here, I have created a sprint health gadget here. So what does a sprint health gadget shows? It shows the board details of a specific team. So if your board is a sprint team, is a scrum team, it shows the details of your scrum team. Basically, it shows total story points. Like if you see here, what is a total story point plan for this current sprint is 8 plus 6 plus 1 is 15 story points are planned for this sprint, and 3 days are left in my sprint. And if you click on this bar, it says 8 issues are in to-do status and issues are in progress status, and 1 issue is completed, and 37% of time is elapsed since its due date is passed, and 7% of work is completed. That is 1 issue is completed. So there is no new scope changes in this Scrum team, and there are 3 issues in highest status and 2 items are flagged. Usually we don't use blocked status. Instead, we use the field called flag to denote the blocked items. And also it displays the assignees in the current sprint. You can ask me now here how this gadget is automated. So if you click on this 3 dots and click on configure icon, it says the sprint next sprint view is auto. So once the team is closing the sprint and opening a new sprint, it automatically changes the data to a current sprint. So basically, you can select the board name for which board you wanted to see the sprint details. You can select the checkboxes to show the board name, sprint name, and assignees. And always don't forget to select this checkbox auto refresh for every 15 minutes. So only then whatever changes you do then and there in your team will be reflected in this gadget. So this is about sprint health gadgets. Let me show you guys how I used filters to use this gadgets work. So if you see here, this is a filter result gadget. So if you type here filter result, it will give a summary what is filter result is about. So it says shows the issues or results of a saved filter. So let me click on this configure icon and show you guys what filter I have used for this gadget. It says webinar mentor mentee team A filter I have used. If I click on that one, I will show you how I automated by using a function. But just by using a function name open sprint, I have automated my dashboard gadget. Why? Because even if I close the current sprint and open a new sprint, the data in the dashboard is going to get automated, and I don't need to replicate or duplicate the dashboard for creating a new filters for each sprint and new dashboards. I don't want to do rework. So by this, you can automate your dashboards. So I have mentioned in this query project in MMA and component is for mentor mentee team A. Why? Because I told you we use components to tag the team, and I have mentioned sprint in open sprint. So it takes the current sprint of mentor mentee team A, and I have told number of result is 5. So it displays a 5 in a column. And what all the rows you need to add, you can add the rows. So if you want to see the due date or the created person, you can add whatever columns that you need to see the visibility. So always try to give this checkbox a tick, because all the data will be updated then and there. So if you see here, this filter result says this summary, the priority is this is the assignee, and this is a created date. Based upon the configuration what I have given, the filter result is shown. So the next gadget is, this is the issue statistic gadget. So if you search for issue statistic, see, there is a gadget called issue statistic. Let me show you how I configured this one. So this one also uses the same filter. I have passed it for this gadget also. So I told by priority, I need the statistic to work. So then I have given sort by descending order and show the resolved issue statistics, and I have updated the function to every 15 minutes. Now it shows the statistics of all the priority items by count, how much percentage is present. So in low priority, there is 1 item. In medium priority, there is 1, and in highest there is 4 items, and totally there are 6 items in this current sprint. So next gadget what I have used is, so this is the main thing we use. One of the key insight of daily stand-up is always we are checking whether the persons are doing the work, whether the issues have the acceptance criteria in their stories. Basically, guys, acceptance criteria in our the organization is a custom field. So if I click on this, is a two-dimensional two-dimensional filter result. So I like this one very much because it shows two different. So it can, let me show the configuration. So in x-axis you can show one data, and in y-axis you can show a different field. So I have given the same filter I have passed, but with only one change. So if I go here, I have a separate filter for that to show in the mentorment team A, in current sprint, what are the acceptance criteria which is empty. So as I told you, the is keyword is going to work only for empty. But empty can work with anyone, but is dependent on empty. So I have mentioned a filter like this. I have passed on to this two-dimensional gadget. So in x-axis, it represent. I asked you to represent assignee. You can change it based upon your requirement. So in y-axis, I asked you to show the priority, and I have given the total number of result, and I have saved it. So it basically shows the total priority items assigned to each person. How you can read this one. In highest priorities, there is one thing which is assigned to one person, and another 2 things are assigned to another person, and one more is assigned to another person. We know, right? Highest is 4. In total 4, this is how it is splitted based upon assignees. So this is how you should read the charts and gadgets. So the next one is this pie chart. So this is also a gadget. So this displays based upon the filter result. Let me click on configure. For here, we can either use project or you can use the saved filter. If I use project, then the lot of data. So if the team is having multiple boards, it is going to show all the data, but I need only specific information. So that reason I have saved a filter. So I have given a statistic type by assignee. So it is going to show the pie chart based upon the assignee, but you can definitely change based upon your needs. If I click on save, it is going to show me there are nearly 4 issues assigned to Prabha, and 1 issue is assigned to me, and 1 more issue is assigned to some person. This is how it shows the pie chart. So similarly, there are different types of charts available in dashboards you can get benefited from based upon your team needs. So this is how I automated my dashboard. So let's see what are some of the dashboard best practices you should follow. Always understand the scope and purpose of the dashboard. You should always ask the question, who is going to get benefited from my dashboard, as I said it before, and why you are creating a dashboard. This question will help to create the dashboard. The second option is, who are the appropriate audience? Is my team members going to get benefited from, or the business level person is going to get benefited from? If business persons are going to get benefited from, I don't need to show the filter result. The business person doesn't know the internal data, right? He doesn't know coding or nothing. Then why does he need to see the filter result? We can show a visualization of charts. If the audience is different, based upon the audience, you can change the gadgets. So always keep it streamlined. So make it minimal, guys. There are a lot of gadgets available. Since there is a lot of gadgets available, we cannot select 30 gadgets in a single dashboard. Nobody is going to read it. They will say, find the same thing messy. This one I can itself do it in the filter result. So if you want to think the team also want to get benefited from, always make it streamlined by using a specific information and some gadgets. And always avoid the written. Use functions to automate and avoid the rework. That's it, guys. I think we came to end of our webinar. If you have questions, you can definitely stay back. If you don't have questions, I will ask my admin to drop the feedback form in the chat. Vidya, can you please drop the feedback form and or LinkedIn of me and the IBC LinkedIn in the chat box? So please provide your valuable feedback there and what all the topics you need in future. If you either need it from a framework angle or from a Jira angle, you can put your suggestions in the feedback form. And if you're someone who is preparing for any Atlassian exams, you can stay back. I can tell you how I practice to clear my exam. So some person requested an email, so they are preparing for Atlassian exam. Those can stay on the call. For rest of the others, thank you so much for attending the webinar. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful job,
Yeah, thank you.
Abhi. Very nice. Well done. Keep it up.
This was
Thank
very
you,
helpful.
Chanchala.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. That was very happy to me.
Just share the feedback.
Thank you. It's a nice presentation. Thank you.